everyone. How's it going out there on the internet? Hope you all have a great afternoon or early morning or late afternoon or morning or night, wherever you are in the world. Welcome. We are the Bell of Lost Souls, and we're here today with a special live stream look at Tabula Sono, a 3D tabletop role-playing, map-making tool set suite. And I'm here talking with DM Jim from Tabula Sono. So I'm going to throw over to you real quick. Give everyone a quick overview of what we're going to be going through today.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's up, Internet? I'm Jim. I'm the founder, creator, lead, dev, evil genius guy behind Tabula Sono. And it is a free online tool. We're on Kickstarter right now. So look us up on Kickstarter. We got lots of good content and materials on there. And back us for sure if you believe in our mission, which is the following. We used to have games in person all the time. And then the pandemic hit, we went online, and things kind of started to fizzle out. And we figured out that it was actually because we were playing the game very differently online than we were playing in person. So we applied the scientific method to that, made some hypotheses, and then tested all of those things. And we came up with like 3 very boring scientific, like psychological reasons that these things were happening. I won't bore you with those. If you're interested, you can ask. But they essentially, it is when we have to preload tools in environments with a whole bunch of stuff beforehand, it just adds more stuff that the DM has to do and think about beforehand. And then it also means that in our in-person games, when somebody wanted to do something like off the wall and silly, where they'd like bust through a wall, on most of the online tools right now, you have to be like, no, you can't bust through the wall because my tool doesn't allow you to bust through the wall. So we're trying to make a tool for everybody that can get in and play any tabletop RPG, not just D&D or Pathfinder or Monster of the Week or anything, any miniatures-based game, we're going to support right at launch.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think you kind of bring up one of the, right away, like one of the biggest things about like certain like online platforms or tools, like as soon as you start adding in like restrictions, you start taking away the freedom of the most powerful computer out there, the imagination.
Yes.
Which is one thing that I really like about this, is it kind of captures the feel of just like drawing on your battle mat and then being like, okay, I'm just gonna erase this wall or scratch through it because you've decided that you're the Kool-Aid man today. Then you can. In fact, the whole thing, as you'll all see soon, the whole thing is pretty easy to adjust and adapt on the fly. So you don't have to have like a ton of stuff preloaded, which is great as a DM who my prep for a session happens mostly like 2 hours before, while I'm eating lunch and thinking, oh, right, how is it already Saturday?
I feel you. And you said something about a battle mat and easily changing. So actually, I'll show you this real quick before I get into like a more in-depth demo. But I'm going to do my best to actually make it look like a battle mat.
Whoa, what? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I changed the world settings.
Uh-huh.
Let's go a little darker on the grid, I think.
I love that, you can, I see sunset. Which is great. Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Wait. Zoom back in.
So we've got a parchment paper type.
That looks just like my big like Chessex battle mat kind of rip to them. But like, look at that. Look at the sheen on that. That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because the whole point of this texture was to make it feel like you are on a battle mat. So I'm glad you made that inference. And then you said sunset, so let me just like pan the camera real quick. And the reason that it's called sunset is actually because of our sky preferences over here. So I can actually go in here and update all of these things too. And these are not these aren't meant to be super realistic. These are mood setting. I think our designer calls it tonal scene building. So we're setting the tone and we're setting the mood with all of these different things to let the player know, here's how you should be feeling, not exactly here's specifically what you're seeing.
What you're
It's still up to
seeing.
me, DM, to describe the specifics of the scene, but we can help them out a little bit.
Awesome. That's extremely cool. I know that we want to check out the demo, but before we get into it, I want to ask one real quick kind of question that popped up. So this is a free tool, but you're on Kickstarter, but it's a free tool, but you're kickstarting. So if free, what are you guys kickstarting for? Why are you crowdfunding? What are you hoping to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the main reason that we're on Kickstarter is because we've put our own blood, sweat, tears, and savings in this for a while now, and we're ready to go, and we're ready to launch. And we could keep doing it that way, but being on our own personal dime, eventually we're going to run out of money. That's how it works. So what we're trying to do is, rather than go through and be like, okay, so here's our free platform. Everybody needs loot boxes. Everybody needs loot keys. You got to buy this crate. You got to buy this season pass. You got to buy this thing, and just kind of falling into the pitfalls and the traps that a lot of other free platforms are falling into nowadays. We want to keep our focus as much as possible on the free aspects for as long as possible. So we're going to Kickstarter to get people to support us directly, to help us move things forward in the free way for as long as possible. But of course, Kickstarter backers get cool junk, right? So early access, obviously.
Right.
Almost every single backer tier besides the $1 tier, everything above that gets early access just right off the bat. And then we also have a subscription that gives you some premium features. So most of the tiers get that as well. We've got some other cool giveaway type things. There's some really cool dice that we've been working on. We are hand making every single one of those sets, so they're very limited.
Oh my God, that's incredible!
Yeah, we've been working for a while in my basement with dice molds and pressure pots and gas masks and all the stuff. So so lots of cool backer tiers on there, and obviously we've got stretch goals too, right? So the more funding we bring in, the more cool free stuff we can add on to it.
The better the end product gets to be. Well, speaking of, let's take a look at Tabula Sono. Let's run through some of the features so that folks can get an idea of what you can already do and kind of see where it'll go from there.
Cool. So this, what we're looking at right now is actually a game that we played a couple nights ago. So we started off with an empty map, and then we kind of built in things as we were going. So just like any good D&D adventure or any regular D&D adventure, even started off in a tavern.
Nice.
So there was a bartender. We had a conversation in there, and then somebody actually asked about a bathroom. So I drew in a bathroom.
So you had a toilet just ready to go, or did you guys have to like go in and find and 3D model a toilet?
So we imported this beforehand because I've always been one of the first 3D printed miniatures that I did in real life was a toilet because
nice.
Why not? So it was one of the first things that we imported. But we have a library of free miniatures, so everything else in this room is part of that free library.
Nice.
I think we're going to have 1,200 free miniatures at launch. So we're constantly adding to those. And then this toilet over here was just something that I imported. So if you can't find the miniature in the free libray, or you want a toilet, you can import your own.
Yeah. So what kind of like 3D model or formats do you all support? Because like if I want to take my hideous monstrosity that I thought would be my character that I was making over on Hero Forge and just like have it here, can I do that?
Yep. So Hero Forge exports in STL files, which are generally for 3D printing.
Right.
Stereolithography, if anyone wants to look it up. But those files are perfect because they're generally very low poly or low polygon, and they are made generally for a single color. Sometimes they're multicolor, and that's fine too. But we want to we pull in those, and we can also do FBX files, OBJ files. Pretty much any common 3D format will work in our importer.
Awesome. That's extremely cool. But as I can see, like your library looks incredibly robust. I already noticed that both of these tables are not the same table model, which is like I notice that stuff when I'm playing with when I'm playing with like little furniture miniatures. Mostly I keep it from HeroQuest. I'm like, oh, it's the same table, but I love this.
Yeah, and these are actually these are a collection of smaller props that I put together and grouped together. So
Awesome.
the each individual model, like all these plates that are on there, those are the same model, but so are the plates in your tavern. They're all the same model.
Right, they're all the same plate.
Yeah, but they're arranged differently, and they just have a different flavor and a different feel. So 2 little stools over here, 1 circular stool over here. Those little things can make a difference in your game for your players because, like you said, if you pull it in and it's just cookie cutter, then they're going to be like, okay, I kind of get it. But if you give them a little bit more atmosphere, then immediately this sets the scene, it sets the vibe and the tone. So
absolutely. Well, take it away. So I see we can like manipulate everything like it's a mini. What else?
So I'm in game master view right now. So I am the game master. There's no like play mode and build mode. It's all integrated. So you can play and build at the same time.
Awesome.
The player screen is almost exactly the same. They have less options over here, so they don't get the world settings view. Because if you let your players change the sunset, that's going to get really annoying.
They absolutely like 100%. I would. I'm pretty sure Matt over here would too.
Tell us, Matt. So the token screen over here is the other thing that the players don't have access to. All of the things, we call them tokens, all of the things in the screen. So this toilet over here, if I select that and I go down here, I can see that that's a toilet mimic. So I can change the properties here. So if you want a gigantic toilet mimic, why not? If you want an itsy bitsy toilet mimic, go for it.
Hey, halfling's got to go to the bathroom too.
That's right. Everybody poops, everyone. So just so you're aware.
I've read that book.
And then down here at the bottom, I have 3 modes. So I'm in selection mode right now, which is just you click, you can drag things around. I was rotating things earlier, so Kitty Cat rotates around. The players can do that too. So these colors are representative of a player. So this yellow player over here, she can actually grab her mini and she can move it around, and I will see it moving around, and all the other players will see it moving around in real time.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, so everybody can just join directly in. And then we like to do this system allows you to have like little cinematic moments like this with toilets in the background. So we like to like when we're talking or having a conversation, we normally just do this little wiggle, right?
Oh, nice.
So you're wiggling and you're talking. It's kind of like puppets.
It's
super animated. Same concept.
Like when you grab your mini and you just like, I gotcha. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So it helps with the immersion and it gives number one, it gives players something to do because when the dice towers start to come out, that means people are getting distracted. So absolutely. If we give them something to do over here and kind of keep moving, it helps a lot. You're also not reaching in and having like 6 people and their hands in the way and all of that. So everybody can move their minis, no problem.
Can I assume players move around on the map just as freely or as much as you can as well? Yeah.
Yes, and in fact, one of our stretch goals. This is a great segue. One of our stretch goals is something called cinema mode, which I'm really excited for. We're going to build it eventually. If we get the stretch goal, we'll build it way sooner. But it allows the DM to take control of everyone's camera. And when that happens, everything is paused. So that means players have to stop moving their tokens around. It won't let them. And then you can queue up a really cinematic like intro animation. So that if you do have the Kool-Aid guy busting through your wall, you can do those things and you can kind of queue it up as a DM and press the play button, and then your moment occurs. And it gives you that really cool like cinematic yeah, mom's gonna kill me because Kool-Aid guy busted through the wall moment.
All I wanted was some Sunny D, not the purple stuff, and then this guy showed up.
Oh yeah,
that's extremely cool. Also, one of the things, like we talked about battle mats, like I think the whole vibe of this in general is kind of like, oh, it is like if I was just like playing, you know, back in the olden days, in the before times, as I think we all agree they are now.
Yeah.
But now it's computers, because everything is computers these days. But it still has that kind of like, well, like you said, it suggests the tone, but it isn't like, it isn't so real. It's like, okay, this is what I'm imagining now. I'm imagining this specific, like I can be like, okay, fantasy table, I'm using the greatest computer in the world, the most powerful graphics processor, the human imagination. I watched a lot of Magic School Bus, but I get a hint of the flavor, enough to like be the sourdough starter of the mind, which is pretty cool.
I like the sourdough starter of the mind. So yes, so out of the way, right? Meaning you still, as the DM, you still have the opportunity to throw things in your player's path when it makes sense for the story. Players get stuck on things a lot, right? If you've been in any game, they're going to spend 26 minutes talking about whether or not they should open the door or just knock on it. And sometimes as a DM, you want to like, guys, it really doesn't matter if you open it or knock it. So I'm going to do something to move the story along. So you can actually do something like the door that they're all standing at right here. Let's say this is the door over here. I can actually just say, for instance, the door opens, revealing obviously a toilet mimic. What do you do? So then I can just open the door.
Oh, that's so cool.
Everybody freaks out, and it's good to go.
How tricky is it to like add on some? Say the toilet was where it was, and I'm like, I went to the bathroom, but I'm searching for secret doors. Now, obviously, there's nothing there. But let's say that like you, the DM, is like, oh, okay, this guy just rolled 25 on his investigation check, looking for secret doors. In a game, I might just be like, you know what? Actually, there is a secret door.
So here's what I would do in that case.
Okay.
So what I just did is I drew a wall back here, and then I might say, okay, fine. You discover a secret passageway. So I just essentially got rid of that section of the wall, and then as you walk over there, I can take this whole thing and I can just kind of build out this secret passageway as you're exploring as players, so that you can get that sense of adventure and discovery as I'm literally building the scene.
That's so cool.
This scene over here, we played a couple days ago. First of all, yes, that is a pixie riding a corgi.
Oh, that's amazing.
But this scene over here, it was the boss fight, and it was actually supposed to be in a completely separate room, but we were running out of time, and I could have just gotten the players in that room or been like, hey guys, can you just like go over here real quick, whatever it happens to be. But what I actually ended up doing is the room that they were stuck in, just like looking through crates and barrels, I hit a trap door on the floor while they were playing. And then when somebody stepped near it, make an investigation or make a perception check, and then I showed the trap door to them. So naturally, they climbed in through the trap door and fell into the boss room. So
that's so cool.
Another way of like helping that forward, and it's not getting in the way of the player's enjoyment, which is what a lot of people say sometimes. Like if you try and push your players into something like that, it's getting in the way of their enjoyment. I can attest that it's not in this case, because they get the opportunity to all their hard work of searching through crates and boxes, which would have seemed meaningless if I was like, no, seriously, guys, they're really empty. Just move on. Right. We got to pay that off and reward them for actually doing all that searching by saying, nope, there's a trap door. You found it. Good job, team.
And like as someone who like say I was playing in this, like it's extremely cool. It adds to the immersion to just like have the trapdoor revealed, because even if it wasn't there and like I could go behind the screen and see your notes that there was nothing there and you just drew it in, it still feels like Like, oh yeah, I was there the whole time. I planned for you to spend 15 minutes looking through the crates and barrels. Don't worry, everything is still real. You're the special one that found it, which, you know, like, that's just pulling back the curtain, but that's a very cool feeling as a player to be like, oh man, I'm doing it. I found the thing.
Yeah, you feel like you have agency and you have a legitimate impact on the game world. Whereas if I had spent 6 or 7 hours last night building out a super high fidelity scene, I wouldn't have the option to just really quickly drop something in and say, no, good job. I would have had to figure out a way to railroad them back out of the room and get them back on the pre-planned path that is obviously not what they wanted to do, or else they would have been doing that. So
I'm loving also the details that pop in as you get closer. Like when you zoom in, I noticed there was some texture on the walls, which looked pretty cool. Same with the detail on the plates and stuff. Hey, those look like almost Dwarven 4G. Very cool. Do you? So I do notice though, kind of everything is very I don't know, simplified or like streamlined or kind of like it's low poly, especially from a distance. How does that impact like the system running the thing? Because like if I'm playing on my laptop, is the fan just going to be like begging for death the whole time?
No, I am currently I'm in a hotel room on junky Wi-Fi with this little light thingy heating up the computer next to me, and everything is running just fine. In my browser. I'm at 60 frames per second.
Wow.
And that's the reason why everything is so simplified and low poly. Is there's a common misconception that TTRPG gamers are the same group as video gamers. Insert like disc scratch moment. Like, wait, what? Who says that? It's not necessarily true. There's a very big Venn diagram, and lots of the TTRPG gamers are also really into video gaming. But that's not a default generalization. It's not fair to say that. In fact, most TTRPG gamers don't have a gaming computer or a gaming PC or a huge rig or a studio setup. And right now, in order to do something that's more like this and more 3D and more immersive, you have to have that. So we've been spending a lot of time and effort to make sure that everything that we do works on the junkiest of little bitty laptops.
Yeah, because like everyone's playing on trying to play, you know, Overwatch or whatever on the laptop they got in 2016, and they're like, it still runs. It's fine by me. I'll just turn some settings down.
Yeah, it's just when it starts smoking, I just turn it off for like 12 seconds, and it's fine.
Good, it's fine. I'll take it in, get some more thermal paste put in. No, this is great. What other features can you show off for us?
So one thing that I did want to point out is for streamers, it's a neat audience and everything, but a lot of streamers have gone to Theater of the Mind.
Absolutely.
Because there's not a tool that allows them to be super creative with the thing. So same thing that we've been talking about is, what if one of the players wants to do something? Then the answer is supposed to be, quote and unquote, you can certainly try.
Right.
But you're in a tool where the answer is, nope, can't do that.
Yeah, and well, even if you are like one of the rare like live streams that's using minis or using a tool, right? Like you still, unless your Critical Role's Matt Mercer sponsored by Dwarven Forge, you probably don't have like a full terrain set, you know. Right. So this seems extremely flexible, which is what I want most in a tabletop tool set. Yeah,
and for those streamers specifically, we have a trick. Here's a little tip. Pro streamer tip. Have your video producer or somebody behind the camera or whatever join into the game as a player without a token. And then instead of all of you at home seeing my boring view as a DM, I'm almost always in this top-down, like super tactical view. You can actually have the person that's the producer can actually get in and have some really cinematic camera work moments and things like that, so that things can be happening off screen, but if it's not important to the story, now you have more of like a curated stream experience for viewers, and they're not just locked into whatever the DM happens to be looking at.
That's so cool. I hadn't even thought that. That's incredible.
So that's just a quick pro streamer tip. That one's free. So here, let me. I want to do something real quick. I want to actually just build a room from scratch, if that's cool.
Yeah, let's go to night mode.
Night mode. Look at that! Look at that horizon over there.
That's some Tron stuff. It looks like we're getting ready to D&D, but we're gonna fight orcs on light cycles, which I would play that. If anyone's out there, I'm available. That idea is not free.
Here, I'll switch it to Tron mode for you, just because you mentioned it.
God, even better.
So I went into draw mode. So right now I'm drawing free. I'm drawing these walls. So every time I draw a wall, it just shows up as a line on the floor. So if I want to draw paths or pathways or things like that for my players, that's great. I said flayers. That's like
everyone's enthralled to illithids. Let's be honest.
So if you then want to add dimension to it, select the wall and just raise it up. So every line that you draw can be a wall if you want it to be, and then vice versa. You can just dump it back down to the ground, and it'll just turn back into a line. Right now, yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, that's real cool. That's super. Again, that makes it easy to like draw the room out ahead of time. And like is also every wall, every line can be a wall if it just believes.
If it just believes. So I drew all those walls together so they're in a group. They automatically group themselves so that they turn into a room. But I can individually select the walls. So if I want that to be the front door, I can select that door and just pull it down. So I normally use this to signify a closed door. Here's an open door. And then if I want to put something else in that room, I'll just raise those up a little bit. If I want to put something else in that room, like we had just an interior wall that maybe reveals like a secret space in the back, then you can raise that guy up. There's also some really powerful tools in here for power users. The right click menu has a bunch of stuff. So this one here, I drew this one separately than that one, but I want to align the heights. So when I click that align wall heights button, they just all snap to the same height.
Oh, nice.
And there's a couple other things in there too. If I wanted to group these together, I can group. And then whenever I do something with one of the walls, I'm doing it to all of the walls.
It happens to all of them. That's cool too.
Yeah, and there's also a duplicate, so you can essentially just take a couple rooms, duplicate them, mirror them, rotate them, move them around, and you've got like a town in no time.
Wow, that's extremely cool. What's the how? Oh, I love it.
This is my favorite model. Whenever I pull this up, everybody's like, "Is that you, Jim?" And I'm like, "Sure, of course, yeah, definitely."
I love that I can read the numbers on the die. How big can one of these things get? Is there a limit, or is it just how much time do you have?
That's how much time do you have. There is a capacity limit where if you make it huge and you zoom way out on an older laptop, it'll start the frame rate starts to suffer and it starts to get a little bit slow.
Oh, what? There's
a thing over here too. I moved that out of the way earlier, but I've just got that guy floating up here at the top.
Oh, cool.
So I moved him out of the way and I hid him so that I wouldn't do that. But I can lower him to the floor whenever I want. But I pulled in this model over here. And then I was like, wait a second, I think I have a better one. So that's when I pulled in this crystal altar above.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and totally. I think the players wanted it to be filled with mead, so it was.
Yeah, perfect. And you don't even have to be like, just imagine all the blue glowing water is mead. It's just there. That's extremely cool. What's the I guess you built the thing, But what would you guess is the like learning curve for users who are either unfamiliar with doing things in 3D or who have somehow avoided like online tabletop tools at all during these trying times that try us all?
Very low. The learning curve is very low. So here's the boring part of our team is we've been building digital products for decades, right, at this point. And we've worked for really big name companies. We've built a whole bunch of things that you've probably heard of. And so we really do understand UX, user experience, and how to make UIs that are intuitive. So what I've been doing this whole time is I'm using WASD to move my camera around, because as a gamer, I just pop in and that's like the first thing that I try. But
right.
If you're not a gamer and you want to move the camera, you can use the little controls down at the bottom left. That's okay. So these controls are here for the people that want to use them. And if you never happen to use them, that's great. The same thing for how you move the camera around. Essentially what I do, what we don't have in this alpha build right now is there's a tutorial that pops up that tells you exactly what to do, just like in games, right? So, but if you are familiar with third-person camera controls for any 3D game ever, you've got it. You hold down the right mouse button, that allows you to pan and zoom. You can zoom in or zoom out, and then WASD to move, and you're in. If you're a DM or a player, you just say like, hey, click on your miniature. Click on your miniature. Now move it around. Then they're going to instinctively just drag it.
Just click and drag, yeah.
So we're trying to make sure that every action or everything is instinctual, and that people understand. As long as we understand their intent, we'll capture the controls to make it so that they automatically know what they're doing. And if they don't, it's only one or two clicks of experimentation away. So it's supposed to be super intuitive, and easy to learn, even through what we call discovery UX. So if you're not sure what this little map marker does, what would you do? Probably click it. Yeah. Oh, look, I changed my cursor and then click on the map. Oh, I get it. That drops map markers on there so that I can tell my players this is room number 5.
Right. Awesome.
So you can, if you don't want to watch tutorial videos or whatever, then most people get the whole of the system in just a few minutes by just clicking around and playing with it.
That's extremely cool.
Yeah, even my mom. Hi, Mom. Non-gamer, just as like the ultimate test, got Mom in there, and we were like, hey, Mom, move your mini. Click, drag, sweet, we win.
Listen, son, I've been sniping campers all morning, so you just, this is what you come to me with. So let's talk briefly about the Kickstarter, unless there's some other stuff we haven't hit, but I wanted to go over what folks can expect to get, what are some cool rewards they can snag as part of the Kickstarter. Yep. And maybe we can talk about some of the stretch goals as well, because I know y'all are building up steam pretty nice.
I'm just going to go to the Kickstarter real quick on
the screen I'm sharing.
And then we can just walk through a couple things down here. So, well, first of all, this image over here is just so cool because it shows you drawing on the whiteboard. Like that's the whole premise.
And there it is.
Entire thing. But in terms of rewards, we have a whole bunch of different things. And if you can't pledge financially, even as a $1 or a $5 tier, just share via social, right? The more people that see this thing, the more people can get involved. So even if you don't got the Benjamins, you can still help, and we need that help and we need that support. So for $12 getting in, that's early access. So that's where everything starts as early access. Every single tier gets early access and a Kickstarter exclusive asset pack, which has some props in it. Some custom props in it, some really cool bosses, like big bad evil bad guys that our designer has concepted out. Actually, let me pull those up because those are just so cool.
Yeah. Let's.
So these guys over here, and then our first stretch goal is a third mystery boss.
Ooh.
So ask me what it is.
A mech. Yeah, what is the third mystery boss?
It's a mystery, actually. So
I
When
walked
we
in.
unlock that first goal.
Now I want to know. Quick, let's get to that first goal, everyone.
So also have some other props in there,
Mhm.
specifically to show that these are like modern day props. It's a bookcase, a normal table, and a chair. And then we have the classic fantasy stuff. And then we got these sci-fi guys over here with this like scary alien plant and this high-tech captain's chair thing. Just to kind of show off.
You wanted to have like support all kinds of like role-playing games that use miniatures or that could benefit from having grid, not just D&D, which is very cool.
And not just a square grid either. We have a hex grid option too. So I know there's a lot of war gaming games. And there's like some space sim games and things like that use a hex grid because it looks cooler.
It absolutely does, I think.
And we support that as well. It also helps with how far a diagonal is because D&D 5e does not use math to figure out how many feet is 5 feet.
It's a cube world.
Yeah.
No, I love hex grid. If folks out there play Lancer at all or BattleTech or anything like that, that'll be great. Like I'm already like, okay, I can do that. It's surprisingly difficult to find something that supports anything other than like a rectangular grid.
Do you know why?
No, why?
Because it's hard.
Yeah.
As a developer and as a designer, it's hard to do that. That's not a good excuse for us, so we built it anyway.
I appreciate that work as someone who will benefit from it without having to put any effort into it. Yeah. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. One of the really cool tiers that we have is the make an ego check tier. So this is for those of you who have a very high ego modifier. And essentially what we do is we will have a professionally designed miniature of you or your character, PG rated, and we'll put it in the game, not only for you to use, but literally everyone else. It's going to go in the free library so that like you are immortalized because you're awesome and you deserve it.
Awesome. That's extremely cool.
And then we got dice bags, dice like I was talking about before.
Oh yeah. Let's see those dice.
All right, so here's the dice. Let's get in there real nice.
Look at those.
We have a proprietary blend. I don't know if it's actually proprietary, but we do dice. We do resin dice casting. There's some mica powder in here. We use specific types of inks, alcohol inks in there, and then we have this specific font in the dice molds. The D20 comes with the logo on the D20 face, but not all the other faces because that's just annoying. And then the pattern inside, we've perfected the technique, but every one is slightly different. So you won't like a snowflake. You won't ever find one that's exactly the same. And by the way, I did just watch a YouTube video on snowflakes, and it is true that they are not they're not the same. So wow, I can use that reference.
I know what rabbit hole I'm going down after this. I love the matrix green of these dice as well.
That's all Scup. That's our designer. She's been all over the. We're trying to make this color palette more approachable without being too generic. So the idea is this can work in any environment or in any setting. This is This is even Lancer. This is anything else that you can throw at. Literally throw these at them. And then here's our nice little dice bag up here. It's got a leather accent on it, a satin inlay in the color, and then we have the embossed leather stamp for the logo at the bottom. And these are bigger. These are 4x6, so they're not like the little jewelry ones that you normally get with dice sets. They're pretty big. You can hold 4 or 5 full sets in there.
Oh, very cool. So like one of the little Crown Royals, not the big ones. Yes. I thought Crown Royal was a dice bag company until I learned better, which was way later than I would care to admit.
They are probably the most famous dice bag company out there, I would say. So,
it's taking like all of this stuff is taking me back in a very good way. Like it's that like, all right, we're just like playing, we're having the tabletop fun, and it's kind of got that old school vibe in a very like not like pining for it, but just like, yeah, things were like just exciting, right? It had that like, oh yeah, we're getting ready, like there's limitless possibility. I've got my dice, I've got my battle mat, let's see what's going to happen.
Yep. And so for a DM like me, I'm like probably 75% preparation and then 85% improv, because I don't use 60% of what I actually prep for, which is fine because I can use it in the next campaign or for inspiration in the next one or whatever. Right. This is the perfect tool, which is literally why we built it.
Awesome.
Is we can pre-plan as much or as little as we want beforehand, whatever suits the players in the actual play group. And then we can play by their rules, not the tool's rules. So
I love it. And y'all are kickstarting. You started now. You started at the beginning of the month, and you're going till March
3rd.
March 3rd. Yep. Awesome.
So plenty of time to get in. Obviously, the sooner people get in, the more algorithms pick us up.
Oh my God, yes.
And the better things go. And the stretch goals, I forgot to talk about the stretch goals when we were on the page, but the stretch goals get into the very first thing is condition markers. So we can throw an icon just above this guy's head. Whatever icon you want. I think we're starting with 100 and something icons, but if I want to signify that he's blinded, you can just throw up the eyeball with a line through it. If you want to signify that he's dead, throw up a skull on him. Cool. So it's not specific to any rule set. It's just throwing icons above their heads. So that's the very first stretch goal. That one should get unlocked very soon after we hit the funding goal. It's a very small stretch. And then after that, we've got the camera piece. We're also, there's one in there for a desktop version. Ooh. That will go in Steam. So right now we don't want people to have to go to Steam, but if you're already in Steam and you're used to that flow of getting things and chatting with things and having the overlay, we want to offer that too. So that's in there. And then there's a couple other miscellaneous things. Obviously, unlocking that third boss is one of those. So.
Right. And this is as like a map focused tool. I think it's great because everyone, like, you don't have to take up the real estate of also like, okay, now I've got to have my character sheets or whatever. Because I will be the first to cop to. I've played games on like Roll20 or on like Astral or Foundry, and I know I can use their stuff, and I know that it's super easy to keep track of it. But I just like, I have either my paper or my digital character sheet just on another tab because it's right there.
Yeah, and that's what we want people to do. Actually, is we get questions all the time like, can I pull in my character sheet, or can we have this very specific thing that's specifically for radius on 5e? And we're going to stay away from those things because everybody already has their comfort zone and their comfort areas. Yeah. You have your book and your paper sheet. That's wonderful. If you use D&D Beyond, that's wonderful too. However you want to roll the dice, roll the dice. It's your game, not ours. So you can play and do all those things. The only thing that we're going to focus on is visualizing the tabletop, and we'll do that to the best of our ability rather than getting bogged down with like bells and whistles and integrations and other things that they all have diminishing returns. So it's like, I think beforehand we were talking about the here's another feature that you never asked for and will never use.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I think this is a great project. Folks out there, you should definitely check this out on Kickstarter. How are we on time?
10 minutes.
Great. Yeah. Well, let's keep going then.
Yeah.
All right. So what next? I see we've gone to hell.
Yes, we've gone to hell, and we haven't come back yet. So we'll stay here for a sec.
Sure. Yeah.
I do want to talk about some things that this is the alpha build. Our beta build is in about a month, and that's exclusively for certain tiers of the Kickstarter.
Okay.
And then some of our actual employees, obviously, to test
Right.
it more rigorously. But that has a couple cool things that's going to go into it, specifically multiple scenes. So right now we're in this like town scene, and
Right.
I just drew on this one over here, but you can have multiple scenes set up so
really?
that you can go in between different maps. So
That's
a
so
pretty
cool.
common feature. But you can also set up multiple scene settings. You can transport players between them so that they move automatically. The DM doesn't have to be in the same world that everybody else is in. So if the players are sitting there trying to decide whether or not they're going to open the door, the DM can work ahead. The next place. So that's one thing, and there's also some advanced controls. Let me pull something up real quick. I have no idea if you guys are going to be able to see this, but we'll try it out. So there we go. So we have this scene inspector over here. This is just beta. So that right now, the only way to select something is to click on it in the scene. But we're making this like folder system. Again, this is a power tool. If you never want to open this thing up, you don't have to.
You don't have to, but
we can. So we can open these up. You can go in there. I selected the barkeep down here. So if for some reason you want a floating barkeep, go for it.
Whoa!
We can modify these things. If you want to get rid of his base, you can push him down a little bit. I can rotate him on other axes other than just like wiggling side to side.
So you can actually just tip him over when he's dead.
Yep. Exactly.
Extremely cool.
And that's so this is the future, right? So having the multiple scenes and being able to have a really fine-tooth control over things like this. This is the beta. All these other controls are getting a new skin in beta as well. So
I mean that's going to be really helpful. I don't know about you, but the folks I play with, they love to split the party. So actually being able to like cut between, okay, like here's you guys in the dungeon, and here's you guys you went shopping. So I can like jump back and forth when the goblins ambush the people doing their shopping because they thought they were safe, which is extremely cool.
I use we will normally chat with via Discord when we're on our games, and I like to use sidebar rooms. When the player's like, okay, well, I open the chest, nobody else can see what's in the chest, so follow me over into sidebar 2 and I'll tell you what you see. So this gives you access to actually just do something like that, like take them into a small scene, and as they step through the portal, they can go through the portal on their own. And then everybody else stays back where they started, and then you can slowly move them through if they decide to come through. So yeah,
players, that's so cool.
Yeah, players don't split the party, but they will, so we can be ready for it.
Absolutely, that's very good. What are some of the other, if you can talk about it, what are some of the other things that you have in the tank or that you're looking forward to getting to work on and figure out?
Colored imports. So right now we're intentionally just pulling in miniatures with a single texture, and that's just a color texture. But a lot of models out there, if they're not like 3D printer files, they actually do have textures and colors and things like that. So that's a post-launch feature. It's actually our very last stretch goal. So if we get there, it'll be in launch. Otherwise, it's a post-launch feature. But that's going to be for me, I really enjoy challenges. And when we start talking about higher fidelity things like that, it introduces a huge challenge for us technically, because we have to keep everything high FPS and optimized in the browser for lower machines. So it's going to be a lot of fun to get through like level of detail and all the things that we're going to have to do to make that happen. But that's one of the big things. And then also just integrations with other platforms. I won't use any names, but there's a very large place online, a few of them, to get miniatures. Make your own miniatures, or to just buy packs of like terrain and things like that. We're working with a few of them to actually just have buttons, so you can purchase your stuff there, and then instead of like downloading it, converting it, uploading it, you could just click the import to Sono button.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a lot of fun, and it just like opens up so many more doors for us and for anybody that wants to get in the game. So that'll be pretty cool too.
That's awesome. But it also doesn't like bog you guys down in the now we're running our Assassin's Creed multiplayer marketplace store kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a value add, and that's what back to the old like Silicon Valley approach to things. It's like if something's not going to be valuable to a significant portion of your users, don't freaking build it. So we're taking that into stride, and there's a few things like people are like, are you going to have a crazy advanced lighting system with shadows and this type of thing and that type of thing? And the answer is honestly no. We're not.
Yeah.
Because that's not what we're trying to achieve here. Is we don't want to create more homework for the DM to come in and pre-set up all these different things.
Right.
Because that just is like an overly prescriptive environment for the players. And there's no imagination required. I'm showing you exactly what you're seeing.
Yeah. You can imagine the flickering torchlight. You don't have to see like what this one particular 3D rendered because sometimes that can be a little bit distracting. Like I also don't want to name names, but I have played in one of those 3D tabletops where they've got like the torchlight and the crystal thing, and I wasn't paying attention to what was happening.
Right. So to be clear, I love those tools. I love almost every single tool that's out there. And
absolutely.
The coolest part about it is if you're doing something like we've done charity live streams before where the cast has gotten together and we get it. We understand the story. We know generally what's going to happen. So it's kind of scripted. It's still a lot of fun to watch. It's like reality TV. It's not real at all. Sorry guys, if you didn't know that, but it's not. Yeah, we'll talk about the Tooth Fairy later. But that reality section of it, if you pull that out and everybody knows where things are going and or you have an agreement with the players that like, hey, if I say something that makes it sound like the barkeep has a big old exclamation point bouncing above his head, that means that he has a quest and you need to talk to him. Don't do anything else. If you can like pre-script your games like that makes for some really good viewing. But it's not as enjoyable for the actual players, and not all of us are streamers. So
right, I mean,
this is for the everyday man type thing.
It's a huge difference, like between like streaming and like for an audience or performing or whatever, and just like playing with your friends. Like even we've interviewed some folks who are professional streamers, which what a world we live in where that's the thing. But they're like, yeah, you know, it's a lot. And like when I play in my home game, like I love to just have the 4 or 5 hours to do whatever I want and to not have to worry about like, okay, is this good content? Yeah.
And actually, sometimes consequences are the most fun about the game. Like if you as a player do something stupid, it's going to be great. Let's do it. Let's see what happens because this is going to be hilarious. Or as a DM, if you change somebody's name up in the middle of a game because you were improvising and somebody calls you out for it, like let's build a story around that mix-up and that consequence.
Let's take this moment and run with it. And now the barkeep is actually a changeling who let their identity slip.
Yeah, and turns into a toilet. Just to name an example.
Yeah, I mean, that came from. I want a turn into toilet button. I would abuse it. I still
hang on. So you said I want to turn into toilet button, which brings me to an awesome feature that we're going to have at launch. Is we do have a dev kit, so developers can make mods and plugins. So
what?
If you really want that, make me a toilet button. There is definitely somebody out there that will build it for you.
That's extremely cool. Oh, that's oh wow.
The other thing that that we are launching with that we didn't originally plan to launch with was actually something that one of our alpha developers, he's just a developer that got into alpha and started using that dev kit to make some really cool stuff that we had never expected. He made like a a dungeon generator that just plops rooms down,
Oh,
and then
wow.
an encounter generator where it like takes a challenge rating and then goes and looks up things in databases and
Hmm.
spawns miniatures in the place that you want them to for that encounter. Like really cool
Wow.
stuff. But the other thing that he did was he made a system that would import 2-dimensional maps. So we can actually in the beta we
What?
can start off from a map.
What?
And then you can build walls on top of that map, or even if you don't want to do that, you can just place minis and go. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's I used to in my basement I have a huge table that we built that has a TV in it with a piece of plexiglass on top of it, and we would just we would pre-build a map in another tool, plop it on the TV, and then move the minis around on the TV. Same concept there is you can just throw a 2D map in and then move the minis around on that map. You can add walls to it if you want to. So importing 2D maps and 3D models is a pretty important part because I said it before, but we want you to use all your existing tools and your existing workflows and how you're comfortable building your world and playing. We want you to use all of that. This is just for visualizing the tabletop. So
Absolutely. And it goes a very long way towards being accessible. Like even just looking at these features, I feel like I know how they work and I haven't even touched a mouse or a keyboard. Matt won't let me have one. But
that's a good call, Matt.
Honestly, it is. I guess real quick before we start wrapping things up, is there anything else you want to show us off? What's your favorite mini? What's your favorite? Yeah.
All right, so my favorite mini I actually already have in the game. So Pixie on a Corgi is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like this Pixie is ready. So for
for
battle or or just to cuddle. I don't know. But ready for whatever happens. Here's my favorite though. This is called Goblins Pretending They Are a Wizard.
Oh, when I saw this thing, I thought it was like a slime monster, but it's even better than I possibly could have hoped.
Yeah, I left him the other way so we could have this grand reveal. But this was in a game. There were a bunch of goblins running around, and then they would pair up, and the players are like, "What's going on? Like, why aren't they attacking us? Why are they just pairing up?" And then I would replace them with this miniature that just plops in. Yeah, so it was good fun. This is definitely my favorite mini.
Oh, that's extremely cool.
So the props wise, all the props that I have in here right now are pretty fantasy based. Like obviously this like glowing portal of beer, as it were, and then the tables that I pulled in and some of the other props are pretty fantasy oriented. But we also have a bunch of sci-fi and modern day packs.
Yeah.
And then as we move forward, we'll start adding other things like horror and other things like that.
Ooh, cool. I have been trying to get some friends together to play some Call of Cthulhu. So by the time we finally sync our schedules up, which kind of brings me to, when are you all looking to release? What's your like schedule calendar looking like? Obviously, the world is what it is, and I think by now everyone's used to, okay, things might get delayed because there was a new variant or whatever. But what's y'all's what's your schedule like?
Yeah, so we use a very specific form of time measurement that deals in different increments of soon. So we're launching soon, which has like a lowercase s. That means probably sometime in the future, maybe. If it's like soon with a capital S, then that's a little bit more specific to closer to now. If it's like soon with a TM at the end, that means like in the next week. But right now we're at the soon with a capital S. So we're looking at a time frame that narrows down to summer 2022 for the public launch.
Oh, nice.
30 days before that is early access 2, which are all the Kickstarters are in that one, all the Kickstarter backers. Early access 1 is 30 days before that, and then beta is 45 to 60 days before that. So beta starts in a month and a half or so, and then we just keep adding in early access people until we launch summer 2022.
Wow, awesome. Very cool. And then as you've mentioned, you already have plans for supporting the system like post-launch and everything. So I think folks that are backing can expect to see a very robust product that only just gets better as more and more people use it and start playing with it.
That's the goal.
Well, I think now we're at our time. So thank you so much for joining us. This is Tabula Sono. It's kickstarting now. You'll want to check that out. We've got links. We're going to be talking about this on our website as well. You can, so wherever you are, wherever you're seeing this from, it'll be pretty easy to go to Tabula Sono on Kickstarter. You can also go to tabulasono.com to see what all the hubbub is about. And I think we should end with this. Thank you very much for queuing up this shot to close things out on. I think this is it in a nutshell right here. This is my dream.
And then I think we're good.
Perfect. Someone screen grab that. Thank you so much for joining us, Jim. If you have any outro stuff you want to say, go for it.
Yeah, I think thanks for having me, first of all. And again, free product, it's not going to work unless we have the community's backing and the community's support. So just like, share, pledge, back us, and let's play.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, folks. We'll see you next time. This has been Bell of Lost Souls, and we're out.